So if you're in the market for a wet dry vacuum, I'm sure you guys have all had the same question, and that is, how easy are they to clean and maintain? Now, luckily for you, UWANT recently sent me their D600 out that is fully self-cleaning, and we're gonna be comparing it to a super popular wet dry vacuum, the Tineco S5. In this video, we're gonna go over the charging stations where all the cleaning magic happens, because there are some massive differences there in how they clean. And then of course, we'll do a full cleaning test. We're gonna be cleaning up multiple types of debris and liquid on different types of floors. And then we're gonna go over the actual cleaning process of both. So anyways, let's take a look at those cleaning stations. All right, so we're gonna be starting with the UWANT D600 here today. And I wanna show you guys something really special about this charging base slash cleaning base. When you guys are done with your wet dry vacuuming, you guys will literally just push it up onto the base and then it's gonna start charging, and then you guys could do the self-cleaning. Notice how it didn't have to lift the vacuum up to actually get it in the base. Now there's a bunch of other cool features about this base that most wet dry vacuums don't have, but we're gonna save that for the actual cleaning portion of today's video. Now moving on to the Tineco wet dry vacuum, this one you will have to lift up and put into the base just like so. This is also where all of the cleaning is going to happen, but the thing is that movement will possibly leave some drips behind versus just scooting it up on a ramp. So as you guys can see, we have two very different systems here, and I guess we'll see during the cleaning test which one is gonna be superior. All right, and for our first test, we're gonna clean up some cornstarch. We're gonna use the same exact mode on both of them just to make sure that it's fairly even. But I do wanna point out that the UWANT over there has 23,000 PA, which is the suction power, compared to the Tineco S5 at 20,000. So hopefully the 23,000 gives the UWANT a little bit of an advantage, and I guess we'll see how it does with the cornstarch and all the other tests. We will be using a tile floor eventually for some of the other tests, but we're gonna do a few here just to show you guys the difference between a wood floor versus tile. Not too much of a difference so far. And almost all of the mess is already cleaned up. I do feel like the Tineco did leave a little bit more in some of the cracks of the wood, but not too bad so far. Let's go ahead and try another test. This time we're gonna go a little bit more extreme with some apple butter. Let's go ahead and throw this down. So let's go ahead and see if we can clean this up before it stains my floor. Luckily, they both did a pretty good job here. I'm not seeing too much of a difference, but we'll see when it comes to some other tests that I have in mind. All right, for this test, we're gonna be seeing how close it could get to this piece of furniture here. We're just gonna be cleaning up some baby powder this time. And notice how it goes to the exact edge. Does a great job of cleaning all of that up. And just like that, we're basically done. What I like about this wet dry vacuum is that the brush goes edge to edge, which I think gives it a huge advantage. Next up, we're gonna be trying the Tineco, and as you guys can see, it does not go edge to edge in both directions. So if you guys are going this way, this is what it's gonna look like. You guys will miss about an inch to the furniture, so you guys will have to turn this around just to clean that mess up. Not the end of the world, but it is pretty inconvenient. And even when I am going this direction, I feel like it's not cleaning quite as well to the edge as the UWANT D600. Just for example, let's see if the UWANT D600 could get closer to that edge, and it's picking up everything that the Tineco couldn't, even when the Tineco is going the other direction. All right, we're gonna go all out for this test. We're gonna clean up baby powder, ketchup, and hair all in one go side by side and see how it does. This time we did switch sides. The UWANT is over on my right and the Tineco is on my left. Just to show you the difference, I do feel like the UWANT did clean up a little better that time, actually. While we're side by side, I did want to show you how the UWANT can go all the way down and still clean. while the Tineco's brush is lifted up. All right, so next up, tile. We're gonna have the UWANT over here and the Tineco in the white. Let's see how this goes. And we're cleaning salsa and pasta. And that time, the UWANT definitely cleaned up everything on the first pass, while the Tineco left over some pasta. All right, the last test, I promise, we're gonna do some ketchup. Let's see how this one goes. It should be fairly easy. And for whatever reason, the Tineco missed in the center. It was kind of weird. So the UWANT once again did a lot better. Also, fun fact, we've been using these the exact same amount and we're actually at a higher battery capacity over here on the UWANT. Not by much, but I did just want to point that out. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and see just how well these machines clean. Just to give you guys an idea, that is gonna be the brush roller. Not super dirty, but you could definitely see some staining in the ketchup there and maybe a little hair stuck in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and empty the dirty water tank, but before I do that, let me go ahead and show you guys because this is an important step. So all of the heavy debris is stuck at the top and then all of the liquids at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and empty this out before I start the cleaning cycle because it is almost full. All right, so now the dirty water tank is empty, so we could go ahead and do the quick cleaning cycle. Just gonna set it in. Now I'm gonna press the cleaning cycle button. Sometimes this one does do it automatically, but since I emptied it, it's a little confused. All right, so the cleaning cycle is complete on the Tineco. As I lifted this up, I will say I have noticed some water and some stuff leaking out of here still. Not the end of the world, but let's go ahead and pop this out and see what the brush looks like. All right, so hopefully you guys could see that. The brush itself isn't super dirty, but we definitely do have a little bit of ketchup on it still. And we do have some gunk in here. And I believe with Tineco, they would want you to wipe this down with a cloth versus like spray it down. But there is a good amount of junk still in this area. And now we have a bunch of dirty water back in here. So I'll just empty that out. But other than that, it did a decent job. There is no deodorizer stick inside of this one. And I will show you guys the deodorizer stick on the UWANT because I think that that is really unique and really stands out to me. So let's go ahead and test that out. And real quick, this is what the brush looks like before we even start our cleaning test. Since we've only done one test with this one, it's really not that dirty, but we do have some hair right in there and you can see a little bit of debris. Let's see what happens when I open this up because I just want to give you guys a good before and after. You could tell that there's a little bit of staining right in there. So we'll see how it does whenever it gets done with its cleaning cycle. All right, so it doesn't seem to have any problem right now. Let's go ahead and start the actual cleaning mode. All right guys, so that's what it's gonna look like in the first setting. There are a total of 4. The green light's gonna detect what stains there are and how heavy to clean it. And then the blue light's gonna come on next and that will be the deep cleaning cycle. So I'll get back to you guys whenever it changes. All right, so we just moved on to the next mode, the deep cleaning mode, and the green mode did take a lot longer, but I do think that there's no problem with these modes taking long. Since it is cleaning itself, you guys could just let this be, do its own thing, and it seems like it's probably gonna do a better job than the Tineco. So I'll get back to you guys on the third mode, which is gonna be the UV cleaning mode. I'm gonna assume that one's gonna be much quicker. And then finally, we'll have the red light mode where it cleans things up, dries it all up, and then we'll basically be done. All right, now we have the UV cleaning mode here. It did say that this was also gonna use hot air. And then I believe the final mode will also engage the iron that is on the bottom. And I'll show you guys a closer look at that in just a moment. But you guys could even hear the fan going. All right guys, so the purple mode is finally over. It probably took 10 to 15 minutes and now we are on to the infrared drying stage where it's gonna use infrared lights and then also the iron on the bottom of the station here to dry the brush roller while it constantly turns it a little bit. In the previous mode, it also did the same thing where it does like a quarter turn every once in a while just to make sure that every edge of that brush is getting cleaned and dried. All right guys, so we are finally done with the cleaning cycle of this wet dry vacuum. Let's just go ahead and take this whole compartment off. It's also super dry to the touch thanks to the iron that's already in this machine. The brush roller looks super clean, definitely a lot drier and cleaner. So you guys shouldn't end up with any of those weird smells afterwards. Plus you guys could rinse off this entire section right here because it is waterproof. So that's how you guys could avoid that gross smell that some wet dry vacuums get. So when it comes to self-cleaning, this UWANT D600 is a great option. It also cleaned better in several circumstances, and I'm talking about the floor, not just cleaning itself. And with that being said, let's just go over a couple other features between these two before we end this video, just real quick. All right guys, so they both just finished a cleaning cycle, and we're gonna do a quick test here. We're gonna just go ahead and rub a paper towel on the brush roller, and this is gonna show us how clean and dry the brush roller is. So over here, starting with the Tineco, let's give this a try. And already I'm noticing that it is still a bit damp, and that's what I got on a couple passes there. Let's try again on this side. We'll give it a slight rotation, and it's still definitely damp. So let's go ahead and give the UWANT D600 a try over there. So the same exact process. We're just gonna wipe this along the brush roller, and I could already tell you that this brush roller feels almost completely dry from the cleaning session. And just looking at it, the brush roller here does look more clean, and there's basically nothing on this cloth here. So let's just give it a couple more tries, and it is basically all the way dry and much more clean. Now I want to show you guys another really cool feature of the UWANT D600. So just for example, this is the Tineco after a cleaning cycle. We still have a bunch of gunk down there, and normally I'd have to use a wipe to go ahead and clean that off. But with the UWANT, we're able to actually rinse it off with water. So let me go ahead and show you that. All right, so I just took this into our bathroom here. We're just gonna rinse it off with my shower handle here. And anything that it didn't get during the cleaning cycle, I should be able to just rinse off right here. So that's definitely a huge benefit of this wet dry vacuum. All right, so the first thing that I wanna point out to you guys on the UWANT is that we have this iron board right here, and this is one of the features that helps dry that roller brush even better. So on top of the infrared drying lights and all of the UV lights, this really helps dry it out, and there's a massive difference between the dryness of this brush versus the dryness of the Tineco. Now I will say this took a very long time, maybe 30 to 40 minutes to go through the entire cleaning cycle. But like I've been saying, it really doesn't matter because it does it all on its own. You guys could just start it and forget about it and then come back to it the next day. We do also get a moving handle here, which is really nice. Versus on the Tineco, it just stays still. There's not really any movement there. And I will say at first, I didn't think that that would be that helpful, but after using this wet dry vacuum, I definitely think that this is a really helpful design. I've sort of already mentioned this about the UWANT, but we do get a longer battery life. And something else that I haven't mentioned yet is the fact that the UWANT comes with a 2-in-1 tank design. So when you guys take the tank out, this is gonna be the clean water and dirty water. Clean water is gonna be over here, and then the dirty water and the deodorizer stick is going to be over here. And one last thing about the UWANT is that you guys get a deodorizer stick pre-installed inside of here. So that'll help make sure that you guys don't have any funky smells inside of that dirty water tank, which is just one more reason why I think that the UWANT does a better job at self-cleaning than the Tineco. So anyways, hopefully that helps you guys choose a wet dry vacuum. I definitely think that these are both great options, but as you guys could see, the UWANT did a better job at cleaning in certain scenarios and self-cleaning the actual machine. And with that being said, that's it for my review of these two wet dry vacuums.